Live and direct, Fabian PerspecTV. This is not an AI robot. That wasn't even funny. Friendly Fire, Allball TV. We back, baby. We back. Stephen A. Smith again cries about the clickbaiters. The pot calling the kettle black. Meanwhile, of course, he doesn't address certain people, but he kind of does. Let's get right into it. Stephen A. Smith on the Breakfast Club with Charlamagne the God, DJ Envy from Queens. But you looking bad out there. Stephen A. Smith making Queens looking bad out there. They get into Colin Kaepernick, a bunch of stuff, but particularly the Marcellus Wiley thing is what we all been waiting for. Really. And by we all, I mean me too, because I'm into the bochinche.
And so when you have to tell me why, that's what makes a debate show.
Gotcha.
And that's what it's about.
Now some weeks ago, something you said, which you said several times, you wrote about it in your book. You talked about, your experience with Max Kellerman working on the show. And I saw a reaction from Marcellus Wiley, and he said you got rid of Max Kellerman because Max wasn't dumb and white.
Okay. Well, let me say this. I'm not talking about, I'm going to address that last part. The first part, I'm not addressing it anymore, and here's the reason why. Some people want to do anything for clicks. Y'all don't have to do that. I don't have to do that. We're established. But others have to do that. And so when you see that's the tsunami of comments and all of this other stuff, even my bosses called me. It was like, yo, man, it's in your book. Enough's enough. And I'm like, they're right. I had nothing to say about it anymore. The ratings speak for itself. The decisions that were made speak for itself. It is what it is. Business is business, period.
Okay, and that's the funny part. That's the funny part. That's exactly what I've been saying to Stephen A. Smith. Why the hell are you talking about Max Kellerman 1,001 times? So I get a good view. Why are you talking about Max Kellerman 1,001 times? Every episode. You wrote about it in your book, right? You already spoke on it. You guys didn't mix well together. It's not what you were looking for that show. We get it. Right? But of course, your boy, he wants to go crazy. He wants to go crazy.
In terms of what Marcellus Wiley said, now that I will address directly. And I only have one thing to say. He and I work together, got a lot of respect for him. I know the man he was talking about as his best friend. I get all of that. No problem. Here's my only issue. For a black man to sit up there and say another black man is scared of somebody's intellect. Come on, bro. That's just the line you crossing. And
you know what's funny about that? Because that's the same exact thing when Terrell Owens got up there and he said, yo, Stephen A., Max Kellerman's acting blacker than you. Which, by the way, I think that was all. I ain't defending T.O., man, because I think T.O. comes with a lot of baggage. I think they're all a bunch of trolls. This is the troll game. This is Bochinche Central. People play this game and they want to play victim. And you see, this is the example with Stephen A. Smith. Yo, the only problem I had with your defense was that you're saying I was scared of a white man. That was not the harshest thing that Max Kellerman said. I'm sorry, that Marcellus Wiley said. Marcellus Wiley said that you ain't black enough. That's what he told them. That he feels insecure about being, he went to HBCU with the HBCU jacket on, whatever it was. That's what he was saying. Like the Max Kellerman part, was about the fact that they kind of all universally salute Max Kellerman as basically a genius. The way I've ever heard him being spoken about was genius level person. And I rarely hear anyone being spoken about like that. And that was Marcellus Wiley's problem, because think about it. The way Stephen A. Smith spoke about him was, Yo, you did after he said all that, after he was on the pivot, after in his book, he explains why he didn't want Max Kellerman on there. Cool, it's not the show you were looking for. Then you went too far on Joe Budden's podcast and misspoke. The same way you misspoke about Skip Bayless and tried to say you didn't need him or whatever it was a year ago. And Skip Bayless came out like for an hour and derailed you. And you had to come back out and apologize because you double talk, which we'll get into in a second. But you also spoke about Max Kellerman, like, because he didn't play basketball, didn't play a sport, and he wasn't a journalist like you. Like, I don't even know. Like, he's Mike Lupica or something like that. Peter Vesey. I don't think we hold Stephen A. Smith in the same vein. I don't know. Because of that, Max Kellerman lacked that background. You're saying people, the audience didn't resonate with him. That's a totally different statement than you saying you guys didn't debate well together. Your boy, Mad Dog Russo, is not a former athlete. He ain't no journalist. He was doing the same thing you were on the radio in the 90s. That's how we grew up. He kind of helped usher in this whole era that we see now on ESPN with the likes of you, right? And then you help pull him into the TV screen now because you know he's that kind of guy. You know he's the kind of guy that's fiery. He's going to say something that's polarizing. You guys can argue, and that's great. But to say Max Kellerman is only up there for what reason? Because you guys hired him. Why would you hire him if he didn't have this background? Right? And it's funny. It's just funny to me.
I have nothing more to say other than that. That's sad that he would go that route. I guess that he's going to get attention because obviously everybody who watches The Breakfast Club every chance we get, and he's going to see, talk about it. I'm certainly not going to argue with him. I've always had a lot of respect for him. Me and Marcellus Wiley have never had one issue. And
do you hear his tone? The funny part is that if you look at all the clips with Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith, he never talks like this to Max Kellerman. He's never this calm like this. He's like that's what he don't understand. Like, it looked like you were bullying Max Kellerman on live TV. And that's not the reason why we were turned off by it. It's because Max kind of wasn't fighting back and he was trying to do it with his stats and everything. And I see that's the other part. Like, I see the fans trying to act like Max Kellerman was washing Stephen A. Smith, and that's not what that show is there for. That show is all wrestling. Max Kellerman was he's gonna go super Spock on us and try to, like, you know, Vulcan his way into an argument. That's not what that show. The show is wrestling. Bottom line. So Max Kellerman didn't fight back Stephen A. Smith the way I wanted him to be honest with you. Like, he was letting Stephen A. Smith bully him. I'm not gonna lie to you. I would have never let Stephen A. Smith talk to me like that. I don't care how much he owns or runs that First Take network. You're Max Kellerman. You're the people's champion. You came up from public access TV. He was doing what we're doing now with YouTube, which is crazy. He came up from there and went on First Take, the highest rated sports show in the last 10 years, whatever it is that this guy keeps bragging about.
I don't care what support he has for his boy or anybody else. I get that. I support my boys too. But I would never in a million years say that one black man is scared of the intellect of a white man. I would never, ever, ever do that. And for him to do something.
Well, yo, I'm telling you, this guy's a wrestler. I love it. He gets very serious with this tone on this level, and he delivers the speech in this manner. Now you have to take me seriously because I'm not my bombastic self, as he would use, right? That's the word he was used. This guy's crazy.
Something like that, that's on him. Y'all have known me for years. The business has known me for years. I've been on national television with the #1 debate show on television for the last 12 straight years and counting. I've been winning, but more importantly, I've been in a bubble in the public eye on national television every day. We've had disagreements, you know what I'm saying, the whole bit. Y'all have never questioned my intelligence.
No.
Ever.
Never. Yeah.
And so for me, it's like, you know, I get it. I understand it. There's a lot of brilliant brothers out there. Max is one of them. Genius. Absolutely true. And a good brother too. Good dude, rather.
See what I mean? Everyone somehow they always come across that word with genius. They call him a genius. Look, Stephen A. Smith gives it up to him. So if he's a genius, that's the reason why you wanted him on the show. Why did you treat him that way? Like, it wasn't the fact you treated him that way. You know, he was trying to evoke the emotions out of him, I guess. I think he was trying to provoke him. But Max clearly wasn't. They needed somebody else on the show. Like, there's no reason why he couldn't have been part of this rotation now. Maybe he would have looked at it like a demotion or whatever it is. I just can't see why he couldn't have been like the friendly, you know, your boy that's around. That you just pick on him for having these kind of to speak this way about, like, everybody's not crazy like that. Like, everyone can't win a barbershop argument because you're not loud or whatever it is. But there's always that smart guy in the corner with all the stats that really can be like a general manager on the low if he really wanted to be. Stephen Smith could sell tickets, obviously.
I get that.
But he called Max Kellerman the genius, man. That's, come on now.
But to me, forget all that. I wish him nothing but the best. I ain't rooting against anybody. I'm rooting for him. I'm even rooting for Marcellus. I don't want him to fail. But if I ever saw him again, one-on-one, it would be like a black man going in a public platform and saying another black man is scared
and not
of
as
a
white
guy's.
Yeah.
No. Forget not as smart, because most people are not as smart as some other people, I guess. But that don't mean we're devoid of high intellect and intelligence. But
see, I thought, yeah, man. You see, certain people, when he talked about Glenn Robinson, he was very, when I see you in the street, he seen Kyrie, I got the same energy. For some reason, Stephen A. Smith, I think he was counting his gray hairs on that one. He's like, man, I ain't trying to get into no, I don't want no smoke with nobody, man. I'm sitting on 20 million, 100 million, whatever it is with Disney. Let's not forget, the deals you hear about, I think, are very low. The equity he's probably got on Disney is amazing.
To say that I feel,
but he said, if I see him on a one-on-one, you can't say words like that. Not from their school. Come on, man. Marcellus, Wiley, and Stephen A. from a different school. You don't use those words, Stephen A. Chill. Very relaxed, I noticed. Pick and choose who you want to go one-on-one with.
The intelligence of any man. Any man. I've debated Dr. Michael Eric Dyson. I've debated Cornel West. You see what I'm saying? I've been on the phone with President Obama. I've debated political pundits, and I'm not even a political aficionado. We're talking sports, y'all.
This is when he contradicts himself again. If we're talking sports, why are you taking it that serious? I would have laughed at him. He's clearly, though, that the black and white thing, it hurts him. Just a black man saying another black man is scared of the white man. Like, you kind of do come off like that. We are talking sports, Stephen A. Is there anything?
This entry or something? This ain't scared. Okay.
On first take back in the day, and said you weren't. Max was blacker than you.
Okay.
Pissed you off more, Marcellus' comments or Terrell Owens' comments when he was on first take back in the day?
Yeah, okay, that was a good question.
And said you weren't. Max was blacker than you.
Oh no, but that was just ignorant. You know, like, listen, you and I have talked about that. We all have talked about it. Black folks, our community, you know, there ain't nothing in this world that I love more than black people. Ain't nothing I'd rather be other than black. But that don't mean that we don't have our issues as a community. And a lot of times when you think differently, when you think independently, our own gets at you because they want us, you know, 1 minute we want to be independent in a maverick style, and another minute we want to walk around and act like we're supposed to be one monolithic group, all aligned in terms of our thinking. I don't subscribe to that. Nobody thinks for me. I think for me. And I make my own decisions. But
so why'd you have on an HBCU jacket? See, he's contradicting himself. Like, if you're a radical, be a radical. And he's not consistent. It's just like Gilbert Arenas. Gilbert Arenas, 1 minute wants to go scream and shout about, Giannis not being skilled and, complaining about the Bucks or whatever. Marcus Johnson comes on his show, and the first thing he does is diffuse the tension by having a Bucks jersey on. Like, when you're a troll like this, you get caught up. And when people catch you and they back you into a corner, this is what you do. You play victim. Like, yo, I don't even know why. Bro, just be yourself. Why do you care what? And you know what's funny? What he's saying, I guess, for what black people in this country is saying that he's not black enough or whatever. It's just like me going back to DR. They'll call me a gringo. Like, they'll say you're American or whatever. It's like, yeah, and you want my green card. So it's this disc in a bottle of piss.
When Marcellus said what he said, it was a disappointment, because you hurting us when you say that, not me. You hurting us because
who is us? I'm gonna go outside today and interview 10 African Americans, and I'm gonna see if they're gonna say it. Hey, do you know who Stephen A. Smith is? Were you hurt by the Terrell Owens and Stephen A. Smith beef? What is he talking about? You hurt us. Come on, man.
Dare I say, I think I've accomplished enough where, my level of intelligence is respected.
Mm-hmm.
So what about those that may not have accomplished what I've had or haven't had an opportunity to really, really expose the level of intellect they possess?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what are you going to say about them? Mm-hmm. Not him specifically, but a country that's looking at a black man saying that about another black man. So that's fine. But the TO thing was just, that was what pissed me off, because his lawyers contacted ESPN to sue me. Now he wants to say that wasn't him, that was his lawyers. I'm like, they work for you.
Sue you for what?
That's what he said. Because he tried to say I said something off the record that I didn't say. Wow. So I don't, but I've never, listen, doing what I do, I would never violate a trust, because you don't have any credibility if you do that,
Oh, see, that's what the whole, I guess, beef was about. T.O. was, yo, look, I showed you my text message. You apologized because you said I thought that was a tweet. Like Stephen A. Smith mistaking a tweet for a text message that T.O. texted him, and he read the text out loud. And Terrell Owens said, yo, that wasn't meant for public consumption. And, Stephen A.'s flat out denying that right now.
One of the things you have to do is know how to keep secrets. You can't open your mouth publicly when you gave your word that something's told to you in confidence.
So when you threatened to expose something about him, when you retweeted him, that's what it was?
No, what I was saying, and no, that wasn't what it was. What I was trying to say to him is that I wasn't even trying to threaten to expose anything. I'm trying to say we all know all the troubles you've been through. We can talk about it. But, that's neither here nor there.
Oh, now it's neither here nor there. See, that's what I'm saying. When you're that dramatic and you're a troll, that's what happens. What were you trying to expose? The same thing that we already knew? Come on, man. He's a walking novela.
Yeah, but that's all I was saying. And then when he called me and talking about I didn't tweet, I retweeted. Well, that's tweeting. I mean, I don't know what to say, So, but I was only pissed off about that, and but that's over and done with. We spoke on it, we had our words, and that's that, and we move on. But that pissed me off more. The Marcellus thing, to answer your question, made me sad.
Steven got to go. I got one last.
Oh, so they spoke on it. They spoke on this. Because he was saying that he would never speak to T.O. again. See, this is what I keep telling you guys, man. Stephen A. Smith is in such a powerful position at ESPN. And think about it. You have someone like Dion at Colorado, another big-time media person. You don't think there was a text message or a back and forth between Dion and Stephen A? Yo, you can't do that. T.O.'s going to be at my next game. He watches the kids. We can't show the kids that we can't get along. Like, we're adults. We're past that. Like, these kids are think about our youth in this country, and they've already found a way out with football and with the economics to sports in general. And then you're a prominent sports figure. T.O. was a prominent sports figure. He found a job here at Colorado, right? With Dion, with me, Dion. we need to find a way to work this out because you're in the media. These are powerful positions to be in. Remember, the Deion's management, Smack Entertainment, co-founders Michael Strahan. They have a client, Aaron Andrews. Shout out to Constance Schwartz Marini who runs it, right? Michael Strahan, Aaron Andrews, and Deion Sanders. Come on now, they're on every single channel every day. So I think with Deion, that had to be a phone call between Deion and Stephen A. Smith where he's saying, bro, you can't go at T.O. like that. Like he's really, he's here. He's a former super duper star. And he could show these kids what not to do. And this is one of them. Do not get into it with the media, go back and forth and act like you're going to go and get into a fight and you can't get over something because you had words. Like, get over that. It's millions of dollars on the line. And it's big business. So I got to believe that they had a phone call about that. But I could have sworn I saw Stephen A. Smith talking about clickbait. I guess it wasn't there, but I'll pull it up to show you guys. He was saying that we bring up his name for clickbait. Like YouTubers like myself. Because I know you saw the video, Papa. I know you saw Marcellus Wiley tearing you up, right? And it's funny because he's the guy who brought up Max Kellerman, the way him and Max Kellerman broke up, or how he didn't want Max Kellerman to be on the show anymore, was because it wasn't divisive enough. It wasn't polarizing enough. The way First Take started having Skip Bayless more and more on the show was when the bosses up top would see every time Skip Bayless was on there, the numbers would spike. Skip Bayless, who's known to be a clickbaity troll. Stephen A. Smith, who's known to be a troll, clickbaity. Max Kellerman wasn't that. And you got rid of him because he wasn't that. And now you want to complain about the people on YouTube who are using your name as clickbait? Yeah, we use your name for clickbait. Who cares? What the hell are you talking about? You should be proud of having an economy like that make you make money for everyone. You could stop complaining, man. And you're a hypocrite. Big time hypocrite. And you know who else thinks you're a hypocrite? This man right here. Mr. LaVar Ball.
Hook, because I was skilled with either hand to do a jump hook. That's all. You can't block no jump hooks.
Well, you went on First Take. You and Stephen A. Smith went at it over this comment.
I call him the Rudy Poo. Now I call Stephen A. Smith a $3 bill because he's faking it. I don't know what. That's why I call him the $3 bill. People think I like him. I don't like him. He think I like him. I'll be like, no, but you want to talk crazy. This is my thing. He talks crazy, but then I like the father. No, you don't. You talk bad about my sons. You talk bad about me. And then with all due respect, I like him. No, don't say nothing crazy and then try to backpedal.
Yeah, I don't like Stephen A. Smith either.
No, I don't like
the first time I actually met him, it was at a Jordan party in LA. We were waiting in line for the bus to take us back. Michael Jordan walked by, he was, waved to him and everything else like that. And I turned around, I'm like, oh, Stephen A. Smith. I'm like, oh yeah, we cover you a lot on Vlad TV. You know what he said? Everybody does.
See, yeah.
Just a straight asshole. Yeah. It's an asshole way to answer. Like, motherfucker, not everyone has 100 million subscribers.
He's faker than a $3 bill. His biggest thing was with me.
Get Vlad TV out of here. Get out. Vlad TV is a jerk. He's another guy who he's defending Tax Stone and his case. And Tax don't hold it down, man. You from Brownsville. I got a special place in my heart for you Brownsville crazy mother lovers. But he's defending Tax Stone in one case, and then in the next case, he'll say Stephen A. Smith is an a-hole, and he just contradicts himself too. Like he's in a real great spot. He worked hard for himself, but nobody cares. Vlad TV. We ain't no damn another one playing the victim with Stephen A. Smith because of all balls up there. Really good move by you, Vlad. Really slick by you.
Me on there. Nobody remembers him saying nothing but me and him going in. And they would have me more to come on there and be like, yo, but I'm not going to help him no more. Nah, I don't even want to come on your show no more. I don't want to do nothing. You go ahead and do your thing.
Yeah.
You conform and you're going to do whatever. But, hey, you're the last one. At some point, they'll fire you. Because a lot of folks who talk that trash about me, like I told them, you employees. From Jason Whitlock to Jeff Goodman to all these guys that was on ESPN, everybody who came at me, you ain't there no more.
Charles Barkley said, "I just don't like the guy at all."
Yeah.
Speaking about you,
And here's the thing, I don't like him at all. He used to be my favorite player until he started talking foolish. When he got old,
growing up, that was the guy you looked up to, right?
man, I ain't looked up to him.
Well, I
liked
mean,
him
in terms of basketball
because he
players.
was light-skinned, strong, and played wide.
I think LaVar Ball, he's a star, and he got his kids to get in the league, the contract that they have. I don't know if Lonzo Ball becomes a Laker if it wasn't for his father. LaMelo Ball, I think, would get a contract no matter what, because he was that good and dynamic. Like he would have, and he's a star. Like, that kid is a star. But you see his beef with Stephen A. Smith is, again, you double talk. You know, you say you love me, but at the same time, you want to backdoor it with but your kid can't even, he's not gonna be able to play basketball for the rest of his life. You know, and then you were threatening, Stephen A. Smith was threatening to expose where Lonzo Ball's doctors were and stuff like that. Like, it's stuff like that people see. And, you know, I think Stephen A. knows, I'm going to go on every single popping network because I can reach out and keep my name involved in the algorithm. And he tries to act like he's not a clickbait mother lover. The pot calling the kettle black, but he's hitting blackjack all day, man. He's still killing it. And that's the other thing that people got to realize. Like, they say they hate him. Shout out to Allball. He says he hates Stephen A. Smith. I don't hate him. I just think, number one, is he gets me views. And, you know, like Larry Bird is my highest viewed video, our highest viewed video on Allball TV. Guess what? I'm working on a Larry Bird video. This ain't rocket science. You can keep bashing your head into a wall and go against the grain. Trust me, I've done it. It doesn't work, and it sucks. It just does. And you have to build a channel. So the same way Stephen A. Smith got into the ranks, Carlton Hines was his first case as a newspaper columnist. Carlton Hines was a kid from the Bronx, great in basketball, but he was stuck in the street. He got murdered, and Stephen A. Smith was a part of that. Allen Iverson was the biggest star in basketball back then, 22 years ago. And Stephen A. Smith just happens to work for the Philadelphia Inquirer, whatever it is. And he's following the 76ers, and he's following Allen Iverson. So guess what? You get privilege with that. You just do. And that's clickbait worthy. He was talking about Kyrie Irving for years before finally Diedrich, shout out to his father and Rod Strickland and then people and Kenny Smith, they're calling you like, bro, he's one of us. And what are you doing every day? Like, we have all the videos up here. You're contradicting yourself about Kyrie Irving's contract. Like, you said you would never speak about a player and their contract when they're out of contract, when they're about to sign a contract. And you did it. Like, you would say, I would never sign Kyrie Irving to a max contract deal. So this is what happens when you have a polarizing figure. He is that kind of guy. He's a lightning rod. ESPN knows it. You know, the bosses have to come down and tell him to calm down, stop talking about Max Kellerman, which is what I said on here. So I guess your bosses think like me. I just don't have the platform yet, or that popular yet. But when we do, I can't wait to sit down with the likes of him or anybody, because I want to have like great conversation and teach people. That's another thing. Stephen A. Smith does say he does put people on to certain information within his, his controversial, contradictory ways. He's Machiavellian. I ain't mad at you, Stephen A. Big Queens all day. Live and direct, Fabian PerspecTV, Friendly Fire, Allball TV.